Let's get into marriage advice for couples today. And marriage advice for, when just things aren't going right when you're with your communication with your spouse, your lover, your significant other. Let's talk about some marriage guidance counseling perhaps that might help. I'm going to share a principle from A Course in Miracles that helps us understand, well, I want to say helps us open our eyes to the threats that we don't really know that we're battling or are afraid of. Hey everyone, James Nussbaumer, and thanks for joining me in another episode of Everyday Miracles Moment on video. Keep in mind as you're listening to me that in the description area down below is a wonderful access link called Heal Relationship Now. And it is wonderful, wonderful content that will lead you in the right direction if you're seeking or pursuing or thinking about pursuing some kind of relationship help for the love between you and your partner. Where do you find the information that you need, though, really about relationship advice for couples and to improve the relationship? A big question. There are several places you can look to. But, I have found that, first of all, let's talk about self-help books. This is an excellent resource for insight on material advice and into what it takes to have an excellent relationship. I've got a friend of mine that written a famous self-help book. I can't mention his name today, back in the 80s for a relationship, and it's still selling like hotcakes and helping people. So, we can't discount that either. But self-help books can be a good thing. You don't get any feedback, though, from the author. You're just reading the book. So there might be some trial and error to discover what works right for your relationship and the struggles that are going on with you. Then there's therapy, number two. Couples therapy, or we can call it family therapy, a third party to listen and lend advice when the issues appear too huge to deal with on your own, and you just feel like you need a third party there. You will get lots of feedback here to be prepared for what you need to do. Next, our parents we can talk to, our moms and dads. Yes, parents can give a wealth of details on how they manage to remain a loving couple as long as they live. But just remember, everyone is different, and so is every situation. And in every generation, things seem to change a little bit. So do not try to be your parents. Just be yourself, but maybe listen to what they've had to say for a mindful kind of rest in peace from what they have to say. So don't get too particular and aim to talk in basic terms when involving your parents. They're concerned about you enough. In other words, don't overwhelm them. So number four, what you can do is talk to your better half. Talk to your lover. Talk to your significant other. Of course. Yes, 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 and yes again. I think that's the best way. Who else would you want to talk to about your relationship struggles that you're feeling within other than your better half? You would not believe how this would be a no barrier kind of a thing. What I mean is, however, you would be amazed at how individuals start to see their partner as their opponent instead of their ally. So when maybe you confront in the right way with your spouse that things aren't going well, that may open the door for new communication to where you see a bonding start to rebirth, so to speak. That's a great possibility. By the way, read more at my blog on this. I'd written a detailed article called Good Relationship Advice from the relationship hotline of your inner core, from your heart. And by the way, the link to that article is also in the description area down below here at YouTube. So I hope that you'll access that at my safe website. If you are insightfully sufficient to ask yourself, do I need relationship advice for couples? That is when real help will find you, but only as you are seeking it out. You have to take the action, seek and pursue, and it will find you. Also be open to attempting every single idea or suggestion provided to you by friends or whatever to help enhance communication and relationships, but also letting go of what seems to be a threat, especially with your love relationship. Now, what I mean by that is, let me explain the principle from A Course in Miracles where we're talking about threat. Course in Miracles teaches that the ego is always alert to threat. And the part of your mind which the ego was accepted as a human being is very anxious to preserve its reasoning as it sees it. Now I'll repeat this, and this is a direct principle from the Course in Miracles. In case you're writing this down, I know a lot of you said that you like to jot this down, so I've also noted that in the description area down below. The Course in Miracles teaches that the ego is always alert to threat, and the part of your mind which the ego was accepted is very anxious to preserve its reasoning as it sees it. So what you can do in conclusion is remember that, because of the ego aspect in us all as humans, no relationship is absolutely perfect. No relationship, but heaven that heaven above, we can say, is perfect love. So when we can attach to that perfect love, it minimizes the conflict in this world, if that makes sense. And by the way, if it doesn't, I've got a whole chapter in my second book of the series called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom that discusses this. So I hope that you'll check that out. But each one involved in the relationship brings their own unique set of qualities that enter conflict to the relationship, both good and not so good. So here's to you in a successful love relationship and success in life. And by the way, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. In fact, right now, if you haven't subscribed, click on subscribe right now and subscribe. And I hope that you're thinking a lot about your own life, like I always like to include, because this is so important. When you begin reflecting your inner beauty, the real truth within you, when you begin reflecting that to the material world, miracles just start to happen and healing of all sorts begin. Until next time, I wish the best for you again, and God bless.